Hi guys. I just realised in some videos it might seem like I'm ragging on Brisbane as a place, or as people, Australian people, and all that kind of thing. And really, all I suppose I'm ragging on is my experience in that situation, which was entirely my fault, like how I was viewing things and how I was perceiving things. And yes, people. Yeah, some people are standoffish and all that kind of thing, but really, I shouldn't be saying that as if every single Australian is like that because it's not the case. So, yeah, that is how I feel about it, but that's how I feel about it, and plenty of other people don't. So please don't, assume I think I know everything about it, because I don't. I'm just letting you know about my experience and how I feel about it. Sometimes that's going to come across as a bit like "right in your face," but I'm sorry if it does. Brisbane's actually a pretty cool place, and Mark and I went into town yesterday just because it's like get us out of here in the burbs kind of thing, and um, we went in and just had a really great day in the valley. It was ups and downs and weirdness and hilarity, and it really was a great time. And we hadn't made any plans. We just thought we'd go in and whatever happens, we'll go there. We did make a small plan, which was to go to the big sort of home centre, because I wanted to have a wander around and see what's trending and all that kind of stuff, really. Because I was into, still am to a degree, but I was really into interior design for a while there, and especially when we built the house, because it was like, it was like wanted it to be an expression, the expression of myself, that I always wanted, because I've never owned a house, only ever rented, never been able to even pretty much put up a picture. So it was kind of like all of the things I'd been all the magazines I'd read, all of that stuff was stored in my head, and I just wanted to get it out and sort of do something a bit I suppose creative. Well, it's kind of like editing, really, isn't it? Which can be creative. You just find the things you like and you put them together in sort of ways that work for you. So anyway, we went to the home centre, and I gotta say, oh, it was a disaster, man. It was just so bad. I wanted to look at all the shops, and we ended up just looking at two, because when we got there, the car park that we went into was a nightmare. We sort of drove around, and then we kind of came to a point where we thought we would continue around, but there was this pole like right in the middle of the road, and we're like, oh, so this isn't a throughway? Like, there was no arrows to say go right, but we went left and came around, and it's like, what's going on? And all of the past car spaces had like reserved written on it, so I'm thinking maybe this is like where the staff park. I don't know, but we ended up parking on one, and hilariously, it was for a shop called Freedom, and it said in big red letters on the actual car space, it said reserved Freedom. I just thought it was completely funny. Like, it's like, you can have your freedom, but as long as it's reserved, just made me laugh, like, just follow the rules. Have your freedom, but follow the rules. There's rules to follow if you want your freedom. Irony. Oxymoronic. So funny. But anyway, we ended up parking there, and I got a bit sort of stressed, because I was like, we wanted to sort of go off to the Wickham, which is a gay bar, well, gay friendly, not so much gay bar now, up in the valley, and sort of just have some lunch and chill out. And we didn't want to have the stress of having to find a park, so we thought if we park here, we can just walk up there and the walk will do us good. Anyway, it's like it's only about a 10-15 minute walk. It's pretty hot, but we could do it. But apparently it's only 3 hours free parking, which is great, actually. Like, in the valley, to have any free parking is awesome. Yeah, in the car park for this home centre. So we kind of, it said it's cumulative, so if you anywhere in the centre you park, it's 3 hours. So I wanted to check the details of that, and so it was a nightmare just reading through all these things and what's our responsibilities and legal rights and stuff. And I ended up kind of making a bit of a bigger deal about it than I needed to, and stressed Mark out. And it was like, oh god. But the actual place itself, like, it's so unpedestrian friendly. Like, the car park that we went into, it was like we didn't know how to get out of it, and so we had to go up the ramp, where the cars are, to get out. And it was just kind of like I felt like a rat in a friggin' trap, like in a maze. It was like, it's all concrete and hideousness. It's like, get me out of here. So anyway, we go into the first shop, which is Freedom, and have a look around, and the staff there were really lovely. I chatted to some ladies there who were just really, really cool, and sort of went around looking at it and think, oh, this is nice. Someone came up and said, oh, do you want a hand with anything? And I'm like, it's all right. We're just here for a stroll, just to see what there is to see. And she's like, cool. And we chatted later, but she wasn't doing it. She wasn't trying to sell me anything. She's just sort of chatting and having a nice time of it. So anyway, we left there, and that was all good. Felt calm again. On the way out, the electronic doors refused to acknowledge my existence. Has that ever happened to someone where you go up to the door and it's like just closed? It's like, yeah, can I get out? And then someone comes from the other way and the door's open for them, and you're like, what's going on? Am I like not here? So he did that like 3 times, and then I had to get like really close. I was about like 30 centimeters away from the doors, and then they decided to open. So I'm assuming they've got sensors that are really close to the doors. But like if you're walking at pace, you just crushed up against the glass. It's like, what's going on? So anyway, they refused to acknowledge my existence. So we went outside and decided to go into another shop. I think it was, I probably shouldn't say, but I think it was their gallery. And we walked in, and like as soon as we walked in, this like woman just like pounced on us, like, and she's like, all right, you having a good time? You know, like if you need help. And it was weird. I don't know what it was, but I just got really bad energy from this woman, and it was kind of like, no, we're all right. We're just gonna have a look around, thanks. So we're probably not looking to buy. We just want to look around, right? So I said that to her, verbal agreement. So we walk around and we look at a table, and the first place we stopped, she was there. She was right in our face telling me all of the shit about what wood it was made out of and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but, you know, we need a thing for outdoors, but it's not like we want to, you know, I didn't say we don't want to buy it today, but I'm just like, yeah, we need a thing for outdoors. And then she just went off on this big sales pitch, and it was kind of like this phony kind of like pretend relationship thing, like, oh, we'll pretend like, and she's giving me all this like no duh information. It's like, yeah, I've done my research. I know what I need this thing to be, and this table isn't it, so fuck off and leave me alone. Because like Mark and I were just looking, and it's like, we're not here to fucking buy. We just said that to you. And like, surely if your job, if someone says we don't want your help, is to go away and help someone who does need it. But she was so in my face, and it got me really angry. I was like, Mark, I have to go over here. And so I just walked across to the other side of the shop, had a look at their stuff, and got out. The stuff was all nice and stuff, but I'm like, just get me out of here. And I had to go outside, and it really, really pissed me off. And I just arced up, man. Outside, I'm like, bah, 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 like, I told it I didn't want to, me. Just went off, and it was kind of like, wow, it was like a total mood swing. But I don't like that. I don't like it when you're in a shop. I know it happens to everyone, doesn't it? I don't mind like the kind of folding t-shirt, hi, how's it going, you know, that kind of conversation. That's all right. Like, but if you specifically said to somebody, I don't want your help, and I'm only looking, like I'm just here to experience the store and to walk around and see what it's all about, then don't come up to that person and start fucking hassling them to buy shit. They've told you, and now I'm thinking I won't go back there because I don't have to deal with that woman. That's bad. You know what I mean? Like, especially like as a shop, you just gotta, I suppose, realize that not people are there to look a lot of the time. They're not there to buy. And even though your stuff are there to sell, they need to know when to back away. And man, oh, she didn't go. It was full on. Anyway, so we decided to get out of there and just get in the car and just try and find a car space. And luckily, like just up the road, there was one in a great spot and no restrictions on the weekend. I'm like, oh, cool. Why don't we just like park here? So yeah, we went and had some lunch, and my salad was a disaster. It was so bad. It was so bad. The whole time I'm eating it, I'm thinking, don't be pretentious. But it's like this sort of like, you know, the salad itself was kind of like, I thought it was going to be something. In a way, it's pretentious. You know, it was poached pear and beetroot with lettuce and some sort of really cool sounding dressing. And I thought, that sounds really nice, you know, expecting some walnuts or something, some parmesan. And it came out, and it was like this limp, soggy lettuce with this. The sauce said it had a specific ingredient, but all it tasted of was vinegar. So it was kind of limp lettuce, vinegar. I think homemade, but basically pickled beetroot. I was expecting fresh grated beetroot, but it was pickled. It said it had Persian feta, but there were literally two pieces that were like this big, and they'd been all mushed in with everything. And the Persian feta was just this smooth kind of like non-existent flavor thing. It was just horrible. And they even got the pear wrong. It was like, oh shit, did I say the name of this place? I'm sorry. Because actually the reason why I was so upset, okay, the pear was like hard. It was poached, yes, but it wasn't poached in anything. It was just kind of boiled, but not boiled enough. It was just terrible. Mark's food looked great. This is the thing though, is that when we went there last time, their food's excellent. It really was good. So this was like obviously someone was having a bad day, but it's like I was the brunt of it, I suppose. But oh man, it was terrible. So that in itself was funny. But they got a bunch of games up, so you can sort of play board games and stuff. And Mark's not a big fan, but I managed to convince him to play Headache, which was a fun game when I was a kid. I loved that playing with my sister. It's basically you've got some cones and you've got to go around the board, and there's a pop-o-matic bubble in the middle. So you go around the board and you've got to capture, if you land on the person, you capture their pieces. It's quite simple, but there's also like quite a lot of funny politics involved and luck, because you kind of got this sense that fate has kind of got it out for you, or that you're on top of the world, and that if fate's got it out for you, if you're losing, fate's got it out for you. But if you're witty, you're awesome, and it's really funny. Just pull back all these memories of like the power play between siblings and all that kind of thing. But really good fun. The ad for it in Australia from the 80s was really hilarious. The theme songs, like these kids, like manic kids, like headache, it's fun to have a headache, and it's kind of like, what part of a headache is fun? Like lamest campaign ever. Yet I still remember it, but it was like, what part of having a headache is fun? Like, surely they shouldn't have tried to like link headache and fun. They maybe sort of go with the how dare you kind of like thing, maybe, or the pain of like, why have I lost? That makes more sense than it's fun to have a headache, and the pop-o-matic bubble, and so funny. But anyway, we had a great time, and the music was interesting. It sounded like a lot of the music was kind of almost just speaking to us at this point in life. Like, we really need to hear it. And we ended up walking all along Eagle Street Pier along the river, and we saw some kids from a school doing like, which is weird. Like, it was on a Sunday, but there you go. It must have been a sports day or something. But this like free running sort of teacher taking these kids out for a run, and we went to this bridge and we looked down and we saw them all doing an emu parade, and I was like, what are all like? That was the first I saw of them. Was all these like sort of, I guess, teenage to 20-year-old kids and people like just picking up litter. Like, emu parade's what we called it back in the day at school, because everyone looks kind of like an emu as you're picking up the litter. So yeah, they were all doing an emu parade just on the street, and I'm like, wow, that's freaking amazing. Like, people just picking up stuff, like Keep Australia Beautiful. And yeah, then they just sort of ran off and started like jumping on like all of these like things and running along them, and it was kind of like, wow, that's really cool. I wish I had that at my school. And then anyway, we went down Eagle Street Pier, and there they were on the river and doing their thing, and the guy was like, people were standing around looking, and the guy was like, come and join in if you want to. And I'm like, man, we need more of that kind of stuff, way more of it, because it's just so cool. Like, the energy instantly, everyone was just like, wow, something's happening, this is really great. And walking along that Eagle Street pier section, the old customs house is so beautiful, and there's this like all these cool little windows down on the water level, which look like little jail windows. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if Brisbane had a festival along that whole section, and with all people selling foods and things, and then you had like actors in there, like as in prisoners who've been like put in there because they didn't pay their customs, and get kids interested in history and stuff, and they could be yelling out abuse at the toffs going past, like, oh, look at you, nice, look at you and you see that, it's all right for you out there, isn't it? What about us poor people in here? Like something quite sort of fun, and yeah, I got quite inspired, and it's nice, and all that just because some people were out doing something fun, and it got me excited. And yeah, it's pretty cool like that. I mean, Brisbane has so much potential. Makes it sound like it's not doing enough now, but it is. It's like there's a lot more going on. South Bank, which is this amazing entertainment precinct, very family oriented, but just beautiful gardens and cafes and whole little water parks and massive pools. And it's just, as a kid, it would have been unbelievably awesome. And there's the whole arts precinct now is actually pretty awesome, and modern art gallery, and the Queensland Conservatorium of Music is there, like also of art, QCA, and it's got a real nice vibe, and you can walk all the way around across the bridges and around the water, and it's really cool now. And lots of city cats, so you can jump on a ferry and sort of go for a little cruise up the street. It's really cool. And I guess I just wanted to say, I hope I'm not sort of ragging on Brisbane or coming across like that, because it is a great city. And if you ever get a chance to come here, it's in Queensland in Australia, if you didn't know. It's worth a visit. It really is. It's a great place. And even if you just arrive objectively to observe people, it's really fascinating in a lot of ways. All right, I guess I'll leave it there. Just wanted to share the good weekend I've had, and it's Sunday morning, and I guess, well, Mark's outside doing gardening, so I should probably join him. We cleaned the house yesterday, and it was like, I mean, it doesn't take long really, but it still was an ordeal. Like, you know, you're sweating. It's like mopping up your own sweat drips. It's foul. But anyway, we got through it. All right, so I better go. Signing off. See you later.